and the circular essence of the work. It doesn't matter what is the periphery. If the work is circular in essence, so long your work is a mandala. If you notice, it is circular in essence, even though it's broken at a few places. And doesn't matter what is the periphery of your work, it will still be mandala if it has one point of origin, repetition of designs, and circular essence. Doesn't mean that everything and anything that you draw in this direction is a mandala. No. Mandala comes with a lot of philosophical values to it. It is considered as a therapeutic art because of a lot of things, because of the fact that it is something that is going to train your mind to look at the brighter side and to be optimistic every single time you talk about it or you make it. And to help you experience this thing, what I will do is, while we are working on the space of mandala, I will keep telling you the story behind everything that you are doing and how you can relate to it, how you can train your mind to look at positive things in it. Okay. So you can change the spotlight now and we can get started. Like I have told you, the materials needed for today's session are very basic materials like, okay, thank you. Pencil, eraser, you will need a compass, any kind of black pen. I will tell you more about the pen later. You can use any pen for yourself today. It is just about you experiencing it. And a scale. This is all that you need for today's class. So what we are going to do is, we will start with the first piece. And to start off with, we are going to make a circle that is approximately 8 centimeter in diameter. 8 centimeter in diameter. So what are you doing right now? You are making a mandala. And what are you doing right now at this moment? You are making a grid for yourself, which means you are making concentric circles first. Then you are going to divide them into equal parts. So for us to make concentric circles, the second one has a reduced radius of around 0.5 centimeter. So you can reduce some amount to some extent and then make another circle inside. Similarly, reduce it a little more. Third one. Reduce it a little more. Fourth. A little more. Fifth. A little more. Sixth. This is step number 1. After this, we are going to divide it into parts. And for dividing it into parts, we will first break it down into 2 parts. So you will be drawing one line from the center on both the sides. Cool.
Can you please wait for just 2 to 3 minutes at least?
Ma'am, I'm going as slow as possible. Since we are time constrained, I think this is the slowest that we could do, but I will try my level best to go slower. Don't worry. So now that you have divided it into 2 parts, you are going to further divide it into smaller sections. And why are you doing that? We are doing that so that we are able to make we are able to make equal designs. Right? So if you have this circle, if you have this particular layer, and you want to make something here, you would want the help of these things, these lines that you are making, for ensuring that there is symmetry in your work, correct? And that's precisely what we are doing, which means we will be making a perpendicular line right now. What did I do? I placed it exactly at the center. And if you notice, you have these extra lines here, right? Keep it in a way that it touches the baseline so that you will be able to make a perpendicular here. Take a pause, look at your work. Does it feel equal to you? If yes, go ahead, mark the line.
How many circles have you made?
6 circles. Now it's divided into 4 parts, but is it sufficient for you? No, it's not. It would have been sufficient if you did not want to make anything intricate in this. But in general, this is very, very little in terms of support that it's going to give you. So what you should be doing is pick any of these concentric circles, like here, pick a quadrant and pick any of these concentric circles. Notice the line, say I'm picking this one, okay? I'm picking this one. So I will notice the line, I'll try to locate the central point. Mark the central point. Similarly, for the other part also, locate the central point. It is just an approximation that you are taking. You don't have to measure anything. It's just an approximation. And why is it that you are not doing it on all four sides? Because usually
Ma'am,
it
हिंदी
creates
में
some
बताइए ना
confusion.
प्लीज.
अच्छा, हमने 6 सर्कल्स में इसको अभी तक हमने टोटल 6 सर्कल्स लिए हैं और इसको हमने 4 पार्ट्स में कैसे डिवाइड किया? पहले एक लाइन डाली है, उसके बाद हमने स्केल इसके ऊपर डाला है ताकि हम दूसरी लाइन कर पाए, और हमने फिर उसके बाद एक क्वाड्रेंट लिया. क्वाड्रेंट के अंदर आपकी ये लाइन है, लाइन को हम इक्वली डिवाइड कर रहे हैं, तो हमने बस एक पॉइंट वहां पे ऐड की है. सो नाउ यू आर गोइंग टू कनेक्ट दिस via the center to the other side. Center के through. Done. Similarly, on the other side also. Everybody, you will have to keep up the pace. I'm going as slow as possible so that you can work with me. Now your grid is ready, right? Your basic grid is ready, and the next step would be making our designs here. For making our designs, it is not going to be any random design placed here. It is going to be based on the fundamental patterns of mandala. And what are these fundamental patterns? Some of them are circle. From circle, you derive different shapes like these semicircles. And we are going to use semicircle in this dot so that you can make these two equal. Again, same thing. Sohina, am I audible clearly? Video, audio, all good?
Both of it is fine for me. I've already dropped a message. It is very fast. People are saying, guys, actually, I'll try to answer this for on behalf of ma'am. We have a very limited time because this is a workshop, guys, right? We have to complete the entire drawing, right? So we are trying to go as slow as possible. At the end also, she will be telling you how she did it. Once again, she'll give a recap. But we have to complete the entire thing within our stipulated time. So please bear with us.
What did you do just now? You just took the fundamental shape of circle and used that to convert it into a design, which is a semicircle, and you used a semicircle here. Why circle? The entire mandala has different shapes in it, and all of them are meaningful shapes, which actually help us to look at the brighter side. And I think I've said this thing 3 times by now. So why these shapes only? These are some of those shapes which have their meanings in line with mandala. And in the world of mandala, we do believe that, no, Mirshadi, we do believe that a circle is something that is abundant. It is something that does not have any kind of limitation. It is something that is, it is vast, it is infinite, it does not have a starting or an ending point. So we use circle to symbolize soul. Okay, so circle is used to symbolize soul, and which is why we use circle so many times in mandala design. After this, we are going to use dome structure. When you say dome structure, what do you mean by that? You are just talking about a lotus petal. You can use the same thing in different ways, and that is what you are going to do. So from one point to the other point, from this section to the other section, mark a lotus petal. And this will come back. Similarly, what you will be doing is, you are just making one section at a time, the left side at a time only. And there's a reason why I'm suggesting that thing. I would have told you to make this dome structure directly, but a lot a lot of us do struggle with symmetry, especially in the right hand side. It becomes a little difficult to maintain the left and the right symmetry. So in order to help that thing, what we do is we work on one section first and the second section on the other, in the second step. And why we do that is because we, as humans, we do have this tendency of remembering something which is very recent, and which is why if you try to do both the things at one go, it might be different for different petals. And if you try to break it down, it is easier and it's more clear. I'm drawing a double line here. So everywhere inside the petal, we are going to draw a double line. And why are we doing that? Usually in a lot of designs in mandala, you would notice that there are double lines drawn, especially in the petal designs and all. And why we do that is because if we don't, all the designs will get merged into each other. If you don't have something, some area defined, and that too with a break in between, you will not be able to show everything properly, show all the designs properly, and it will feel as if all of them are getting clubbed into each other.
Ma'am, please do slowly.
Okay. So what you are doing is you are right now working on the outermost designs. And once your outermost designs are done, then we will shift to the inner intricate details. So the next thing that we will be doing is we do have this large area left in front of us. We're going to use all of that also in our design. So here, this area, I'm going to add one more line here and one more. You can use a compass also for the outermost one. So a little bit on the other side, you can use to make another layer there. Okay. Now, if you notice, what did we do? Just after the lotus that we had made, we just added one more line so that it looks like a complete design. And here in the extra space, the lower space, I'm adding one more at the lower side so that this section can be used for making my designs. Is this the only way in which a mandala can be made? No. This is one of the many, many, many ways in which a mandala can be done. So how do we identify what kind of designs we would want, right? You would choose only those designs that are fundamentally a part of mandala. So right now what you've seen is a lotus petal and a semicircle. Lotus petal because lotus basically says that despite everything and anything around me, despite any kind of circumstances and surroundings, despite anything pulling me down, I will still rise and shine and glow. And I will not let anything else affect me. And that is precisely what we are doing when we are learning mandala. We are trying not to let anything else affect us. It's a space that you are creating for yourself, and it's a personal creative space for yourself. And it is so engrossing that in the time when you are actually practicing mandala, it does not let any other thought into your mind. Okay. So you learned a circle and a lotus petal. The third one is dot. Dot can be origin point, or it can be the starting point, or it can be the end point. So it can be either the point of origin or destination. You can also call this as focus and concentration. And you use dots in different ways in mandala. It is maximum. And number 4, lines. Why lines? In the world of non-mandala. So in generic circumstances, when we're using a line, why do we use a line? We either use a line to create a border or a barrier, or we try to show that the two things are getting separated. It's a division or a partition in general, right? But in mandala, you don't do that. You take everything in the positive light. So when you are using a line, you are talking about convergence, things meeting at a place. With all of these information, we are going to make our inner details also. So I'm making another small lotus petal here. You can go in a vertical manner, you can go in a horizontal manner in terms of designs, you can go slant manner in terms of designs. There is no fixed rule as such. Since we made this area as if, we had to do some sort of designs here, what we will be doing is we will be making very small, elongated semicircles in this area. Try to keep the size of all of them equal. We've made that freehand. Where can you make a mandala? It can be made anywhere, anytime, by anyone. You don't have to be somebody from art background to be able to make mandalas. Absolutely not. And the age also does not matter. It can be done by a kid, 6 years old kid also. It can be done by a 75-year-old person also. Anybody, anyone, anywhere can do a mandala painting. So far, all the strokes, all the lines, all the shapes that we have used are in line with the fundamental shapes of mandala. Okay. Now, what you have in front of you is the outer structure, and you will have to work on intricate detailings here. So let us now use a pen. If you have not started using a pen, you can use one black pen right now and do the outlining of whatever you have done so far. And in the meantime, if you want to ask questions, drop it in the chat box. I will take all the questions from there. I am using a Micron pen, Micron size 03. Micron 03. Why Micron? Basically, you should be using a fine liner. Yes, thank you, Jyoti. You should be using a fine liner for works where you need a lot of command in your painting. So all these paintings like doodle or zentangle, zen art, all of these things or mandala, all of them should be done by in a very controlled yet free manner. And if you are using a generic pen which is meant for writing and not for painting, then most likely it is not going to give you that much of clarity in your designs. Not clarity, again, the intensity of the ink that also starts fading very, very soon, and usually in a lot of pens, but that doesn't happen with fine liners. And hence, I recommend you to use fine liners for everything that you are making in terms of mandala or any creative work. So what are the kinds of fine liners that you can use? Today, I'm using a Micron pen, but it is not always that one finds Micron as the best one. You might end up liking another brands like Artline or Brusto better. So it is a very personal decision on what works the best for you. In my opinion, Artline is really, really good. Artline as a brand, and Micron also is a good one. Suhina, if you could just help me with the messages once, no?
Yeah.
I'm not able to read, huh?
Yeah, so there was one question which is for the recording. I was just waiting for you to pause for a while so that I can answer that. So, guys, yeah, the recording part, we will not be providing recording for our workshop, but there are recording for something else. To know that, you have to be with us till the end. Okay, there's another question that just came right now. We need to use only white sheets or some other paper also works.
Hmm. For today, your choice. You can use any paper because it is an experiential session. Otherwise, mandala can be done on any surface. So you don't really need to have a paper only for this painting. It can be done on wall, it can be done on canvases, it can be done on wooden logs, it can be done on MDFs, it can be done on anything and everything. And the point is, mandala is a concept. It doesn't say where you can make it. It can be done even on ceramics and so on. So it is absolutely up to you on where do you want to make it. Now, I would need your attention, everyone. The one that I'm making right now, starting from the center, one line, curve, another line, curve, back, back. Shade the extras, and in between, petals. What did we do? I will repeat. You simply did this thing. This is your design. You have this base area, correct? You started from the center, up, curve, up, curve, and while connecting back, just connect from the corner to this area, corner to this area. And in the center, since we have this empty space, we made a petal. Why central petal? Because this will help us in maintaining symmetry. Now, number of petals on both the sides will be equal. So what have you done? You have actually used another fundamental pattern of mandala, which is a spiral. A spiral suggests movement. A spiral says that despite anything and everything, I'm not going to stop. Nothing can stop me, and I will keep moving no matter what happens. So, a spiral is all about movement, all about the idea of keep going, not to stop. And you use this particular design in different ways, like the one that you use right now. It is this, it's a spiral. And while connecting it, you connected it like this. So, it becomes a design. This is what you have used in this area. I will do this once again. I think it should help. So starting from the center, up, curve, up, and curve. While connecting from the bottom, little curved and connect, little curved and connect. Shade all the extras. Now you do have the space here, first petal. In the first one, we had made two petals on the sides. So we will not mess with that and we will make two petals only because it is maintaining symmetry is important. So we would make this also. Right? Once again. So curve and curve. And the central petal and two petals on the side and two petals on the other side. Shade all the extras. If you're still finding it difficult to paint this thing, you can drop it in the chat box and I can show it to you once again.
A lot of questions about wall mandala, I guess. How to do
Uh,
one.
Okay, so question is how to do wall mandala?
Yeah. And the materials needed for that.
Okay. Usually for wall mandala, you can use an acrylic paint, and the materials needed would depend on the size of mandala that you want. And you will be needing lots of brushes, round brushes, and flat brushes also. You would be needing a marker, a permanent marker, if you are not comfortable using a brush for acrylic paint. And you would be needing stencil probably, and a compass, a wooden compass that helps you make your bigger sizes of mandala. If you don't want to invest so much, then there's a lot of jugaad that one can do instead of all of these things. Different things can be used, but basically these are the basic stationaries that we use for your wall mandala. So I'm going to show you this part once again. What you did is, if this is your area, from the center, curve, from the center, curve. You have this entire area blank. Start with the central petal and make 1, 2, 1, 2, and shade the background. You also have to connect the base, shade the extras, connect the base, and shade the extras. I guess it should be clear now. Similarly, for the section, which is here left out sort of, I'm going to use a dot and a curved line. What did we use? Dot, curved line, dot, curved line, dot, curved line. How do you ensure that your design is same everywhere? Make sure that the dot that you have made is exactly at the same place where you had initially placed it. Don't compare your works with the previous design that you made, because it might be, that you are doing it wrong all this while. So always compare it with the first design that you had made. What kind of pen are you using right now? Okay, you already answered. Thanks, Anupama. So you know about the spiral, you know about the dot, you know about the line. Now, another thing that you used here was a petal. You might call it as a petal because you are using this as a floral design. So you can call this as a petal also, but otherwise this is also a drop pattern. Why drop? Drop is something that keeps you humble. It is something that says that no matter what, you have still been able to learn only, some just, knowledge around one drop of water from the ocean. So a drop is something that says one drop of water from the ocean of knowledge. And this is what it symbolizes. And if you are putting that not as an inverted one, but a, upside one, then it becomes a petal design. And of course, in mandala, you do take references from inspiration from nature, any specific paper for it. You can use the generic papers also for mandala, but usually I like Presto as a brand for all kinds of papers. And you can use a cold pressed paper. Anything above 180 GSM is fine for mandala. The GSM refers to gram per square meter. So 180 GSM is something which will not, which will ensure that there is nothing that seeps to the other side of the paper. You do have this blank space left with you. What should we? Should always start with design with pencil. That depends, Harak. You can start with a pencil also if you want to be too sure about everything. But if you are doing it only for yourself and only for an experiential purpose, then you can directly start with pen also. I suggest usually that at least the outer lining should be done with a pencil. So here in this area, we are going to First, make a big circle, shade the extras, big circle, take the help of the grid. Sides of all the circles are equal. We are going to make petal design here once again. Central petal. Then the petals will be behind each other. What have you done? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 petals. So one behind another. And shade the extras. Do the same thing on the other side also. Central. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And shade all the extras so that only your design is visible. We try to take inspiration from whatever design we have initially made so that the designs have something in common. They look cohesive and not alien to each other. Okay. If you still want to further, make this a little more intricate, you can mark a dot here in the center and convert this into a spiral. Now, does it ever say that your work is completed? No. It is your choice on how intricate patterns, how much intricate designs you would want to make. So right now for the outermost one, what I'm going to do is add one more line and curve it. Make these slant lines here. You know that you can use lines in your mandala, right? So you have used that particular concept only. You have used lines in a manner that they get converted into some design.
Ma'am, sorry for interrupting. I joined a bit late. Can you tell me the measurements of the circles, please?
So we started with the outermost circle as 8 centimeter in diameter. We have made a total of 6 circles and all of them are approximately around 0.5 centimeter in distance. Then we started with the central line, then a perpendicular, and then we further divided into one more equal part.
Thank you so much.
No problem. A mandala can be as intricate as you want or as freehand and not so intricate, usually with a lot of blank spaces as you want. It can be black and white, it can be colorful. It can be clubbed with another element as long as you are trying to convey a beautiful, positive message. It can be clubbed with anything else also. You do see, inspiration from mandala in a lot of works from all across the globe and in a lot of spectrums and a lot of fields also, like, in use of mandala in folk arts, use of mandala in architecture, use of mandala in tattoo making, use of mandala in all those ceramic based shapes, use of mandala in so many freehand works also. So it is a concept that you are applying and you can apply this anywhere, anytime. And how does the healing work in mandala? How does one get healed? When you say healed is a very subjective word. When I'm suggesting that mandala is a self-healing concept, what I mean by that is, in the due process of creation of mandala, what you end up doing is, every time you are looking at something and it reminds you of something very, very positive. Now, it's a human tendency of us trying to believe whatever is being told to us repeated number of times, right? If I tell you that, your art is really beautiful, and I tell you that thing, say 5 times a day, over time you are going to believe it. Maybe it is true, but over time you are going to believe it. If somebody says something negative about you or about anybody else, for some time you might deny, but after a point of time, maybe there's a chance that you would give in and you would start believing it. Mandala does that thing. So, since everything about it is so optimistic, the first time, if your experience is good in making a mandala, it will always give you a similar kind of experience every single time you're coming back to it. And every time you come back, you look at spiral and it tells you keep moving despite anything and everything. A lotus petal keeps telling you, despite whatever is around you, no matter what your external factors are, do not give up, and you have to be your own best version, right? So in all of these things, what you end up doing is you train your mind not to pick up the negativities but to pick up only positivities, of course with a rational, in a national approach, in a rational approach. So that part of course is going to be there, but otherwise it is training. It is kind of a training that you are providing to yourself.
Ma'am, possibly please zoom in a bit, no? Just for 1 second. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for interruption.
No problem.
Ma'am, if I want to make a mandala on a ceramic plate, which material can I use to draw it?
You can use acrylic for this. Acrylic works on ceramic equally well. You can also use permanent markers for ceramic. After making, you might have to add an enamel on top of that, or you might have to varnish it. But on ceramic, acrylic and permanent markers, both of them work.
With acrylic, you mean the paints, right? With the brushes, I need to use it.
Correct, correct.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
So we have almost completed this thing right now. And I can see a lot of questions are there.